there are good things from Kentucky, and one of them, of course, would be the representative
Yes.
John Yarmuth of the great Commonwealth
Commonwealth
of Kentucky. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Stephanie. Great to be with you. Yes, we're one of 4 Commonwealths.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Well, and you were tweeted about how proud you were of your city, proud of your UPS workers, hopeful for better days ahead. We will get through this. It is there's something. It's an emotion you can't describe. Seeing the vaccine being delivered and administered, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And this was. I remember back in Watergate age where somebody said the long national nightmare is over.
Yes.
It's not quite over, but I think we're waking up from it, and that's it's something we all can get this resurgence of hope, which we haven't had much of for the last 8 or 9 months.
Yeah.
And on many fronts, actually.
And a lot of people, Representative, are having trouble processing it. That's like, what is this? I'm feeling hope. Is this hope? Yeah.
So yeah, and it's so cool for me and for our community to be an integral part of this. With we're the global hub of UPS, and
yeah,
that's exciting. So it looks like Moderna vaccine is going to be approved Friday, which will add tens of millions more doses, and this is it's very positive news.
Yeah.
I hate to give credit, even though it's way belated, but Mitch McConnell finally realized that there's going to be a different president in the United States in a few weeks. Yesterday, so he's late to the dance, but he came. And also, my other 5 House members, all Republicans, none of them signed the seditious petition.
Oh,
and,
well,
all right.
As you said, that's a low bar.
Yeah, it's a very, very low bar. And my Attorney General, who's had his own problems, and also Republican and a McConnell acolyte, didn't join the suit. So that was very surprising, but pleasantly surprising. And we still got a lot of ground to make up in Kentucky. We're in terms of progressive thinking, we're way down the list.
Well, the way you put it seems ludicrous to applaud my fellow members of the Kentucky delegation for not joining 106 of their Republican colleagues in sedition, but I do. There's a low bar for high praise in 2020. I mean, it's like, oh, you didn't commit sedition today. Well, good for you. Right. Can I say you did have the mic drop moment on Twitter yesterday? You said if Mitch is holding up aid to Americans in need because he's so concerned about frivolous lawsuits, why is he allowing the party he leads to file so many frivolous lawsuits to undermine American democracy? Bam, sir. Thank you. Weren't they supposed to be? This is 60 lawsuits now the president has lost. It is the definition of frivolous lawsuits, and you're right, it is to subvert our democracy. I mean, what?
Yeah, it's not an original thought, but right. Republicans have proven over the last 4 years, if not longer, that they don't believe in democracy, and they don't believe in the power of the vote. They understand that they can't win on the issues, on the merits of the substance of issues. So the only way to do that is to take control of the courts and to keep people from voting so that they can maintain essentially minority control of the Congress.
Yeah. Well, but you did go to, first of all, Mitch McConnell appears immune to hypocrisy, CC Merrick Garland and Amy Coney Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
But,
right.
You really went to the heart of the hypocrisy there about them screaming about frivolous lawsuits while they're in the middle of all of these. And yet what you've been working on, in terms of trying to get COVID relief, this is ridiculous. So the latest headline is senators fail to reach a deal on compromise version of COVID-19. Democrats disagree with a watered-down version of Mitch McConnell's proposal to stifle lawsuits over coronavirus exposure at work and elsewhere. So this is the problem: is he wants workers to have no protection against negligent employers as regards COVID, right?
Yeah, but it's more than that, because the liability immunity that he's been trying to push goes much further than just COVID, and it goes much further than just dealing with some kind of standard of gross negligence. It basically says, if you're working for somebody right now for the next few years, you don't have any rights. you don't have any tort rights. You're stuck. And I think I've said this before. I believe there is validity in the need to avoid hundreds of thousands of nuisance lawsuits, which will come. I mean, there will be all sorts of people who sue as customers. They'll sue restaurants or stores as employees. They'll sue their employer. And these are cases that can never be won in court because you'll never be able to prove that they contracted it in that particular setting. But they'll be holding out for a $20,000 or $25,000 settlement. We don't want that to happen. That will be devastating. But Mitch is trying to get much more than that, and that's why we're staying strong and opposing what he wants to do. I think we would be amenable to some kind of limited liability reform that sets a standard of conduct and if you meet that standard of conduct, then you're immunized from suit.
Yeah,
that's reasonable, but they haven't been willing to do that yet.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for including the Restaurants Act. You're one of the people pushing for that. I've been saying since day one, Representative, have ass backwards. This approach to the pandemic has been from the get with the Trump administration, right? We should have put the money into how to keep schools open safely and shut restaurants and bars and paid them to stay solvent. And I know. You guys are all trying to belatedly address the way this should have been. I mean, we still can't get tested in LA unless we want to pay through the nose. I mean, the testing, the tracing, they haven't put money, in my opinion, into any of the right things. He didn't order enough Pfizer vaccine. They've screwed up every single part of this. But talk to us about at least the Restaurants Act, because I feel terrible for all these places going out of business because they just have addressed this wrongly at every turn. But talk to us about that.
Absolutely, I agree. And you can forgive everybody, I think, at the very outset, because we really didn't know what we were dealing with, and we didn't know how viral the coronavirus was, and we didn't know how it was transmitted. But we also the administration never took it seriously. So they never devoted the type of human intelligence resources to figuring it out early and figuring out what a national strategy would look like. And what I think, right now we're doing the right thing in trying to get immediate relief to American citizens through unemployment and direct payments and other ways, student loan deferrals and eviction protection. But we haven't focused yet, and we're going to have to as a country, on the incredible disruption and reshaping of the economy that this is going to inevitably lead to.
Right.
And it's restaurants, it's travel, it's tourism, it's real estate. I mean, we're facing an enormous change in the way we work. Lots of articles in about New York, how they're talking about converting office buildings to housing because people aren't going to go back to work in offices again.
Yeah.
There are huge bankruptcies that are going to occur in the commercial real estate field. And the federal government's going to have to have an approach to this. And, I think President-elect Biden understands that. He's got a great team that understands that. But it's a huge challenge for the country that's coming up.
Yep. Representative, talk to me about what's going to happen January 6th now, because they keep moving the bar for this craziness, right? Yeah. Even though, it obviously was significant and belated, as you said, that Mitch McConnell finally acknowledged Joe Biden's win yesterday because of the Electoral College. So he urged Republican senators not to object to Congress's formal certification, which will be January 6th. He said an objection would force a terrible vote on Senate Republicans by putting them in the position of having to oppose Trump. McConnell said in a private conference call. So your colleague Mo Brooks, Republican of Alabama, has called on Republicans to try to bar what he calls Biden's illegitimate victory. Oh my God. Okay, so they'll need one senator, and they think, of course, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, or Ron Johnson might be that senator. Okay, but even senior Republicans believe that the latest tactic would fail while unnecessarily provoking Trump, who's continued to spread these conspiracy theories. Even John Cornyn said, "I think we all have an idea who might entertain that idea. Let's just hope they realize it will be futile." So once again, it will be futile. But are we going to have a day of just continued chaos on January 6th in the House?
As a partisan Democrat, I'm tempted to say bring it on because it will make them look so absolutely ridiculous. Again, a very low bar. But it's stupid, and of course, it's what I would expect out of Mo Brooks. I've seen him operate now for too long, but it would be voted down summarily, and they would look like what they are, and that's a group that cannot believe that they could lose an election. After all they've done to steal elections and cheat on elections and suppress votes in elections, they still can't win.
Yeah.
And that's very frustrating to them.
You have to, I hate to do this to you, you have to listen to Kayleigh McEnroe with me on Mitch McConnell yesterday. Here we go.
Reaction to Leader McConnell today congratulating Joe Biden and calling him the president-elect.
I haven't gotten the president's reaction to that yet, but the president, again, is pursuing ongoing litigation, would refer you to the campaign for further.
And what's the path forward, though, for litigation? If the votes have been certified, if the Electoral College has voted, there doesn't seem to be a legal recourse at this point.
The campaign would have more specifics for you on legal recourse, but yesterday was one step in the constitutional process leading up to the January 20th date in the Constitution.
Representative Yarmuth, are you aware of what legal path they're still pursuing? Is it the People's Court, Judge Judy? Where are they currently arguing?
I think that's what it is. I think it's Judge Judy or Judge Pirro.
Arguing.
Oh God!
At the bar on Judge Pirro's show.
No, they have no legal recourse now, and it's I think Kayleigh is just apparently auditioning for a role with President Trump's super PAC. That's the only thing I can figure, because she only has 35 days left, and with a paycheck, so she's got to find some means of support somewhere.
Well, now's the part of the interview where I ask you, how much Kentucky bourbon will you need to get through January 6th? And will you be bringing enough for everybody in Congress?
This is a season I love because you can buy eggnog in the store, and every morning I have a little dose of eggnog spiked with Kentucky bourbon. And
All right.
Well, it gets my day off on exactly the right note.
I think that's that is bracing for democracy. Our congressmen are starting the day with bourbon. That's how bad it is.
Exactly.
Oh.
All right, Representative. Happy holidays to you. Always a pleasure. Stay safe. We'll see you.
Happy holidays to you. Yeah. Hope is. There's plenty of things to hope for now.
Yes.
So it's a good season to be accompanied by this kind of hope.
It's true. Go enjoy your breakfast now. Glug, 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 glug. Okay.
The Chuck Lee congressman from the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Bourbon eggnog for breakfast. That's something. Breakfast of Kentucky champions.
That's what makes him Chuck Lee.
No wonder he's always in such a good mood.